Introducing the world's first fully movable from the ceiling bike stand that can be used with one finger. Every cyclist on this planet have been using or is using almost daily a bike stand to work on their bikes, whether it is for changing wheels, building a bike, cleaning the bike. Everything that you want to do on your bike could be done on a bike stand. But here in my dream garage, I'm always looking forward to new ways of doing things that will make my workflow easier as a home bike mechanic, that will make everything look nicer and tidy and just have a better experience. And I think I found the right things to do to get rid of my bike stand. Problem number one, it's always quite awkward to move your bike on the bike stand. You're trying to slide it, you don't really know how to grab it, the feet are like sort of rubbery, they're not made to move. I'm on this side, I want to move my bike, I want to make some space, I just can't. This is quite bad, to be honest. Moving a bike stand with a bike on it is not an option. Problem number two, you know, like when you're working on the drive side, everything is fine, you change your speed, but there's always this moment that you need to go on the other side. You want to change the crank arm, you want to work on that pedal, you want to work on this side of the bike. Well, you can't, because there's a big metal post in front of you. It's sort of always in the way. So then you need to take the bike off, turn it around so you can work on the non-drive side. You need to loose this up, change that up, work on the bike that way, and then reverse the whole thing again because you're not often on the non-drive side. I hate that. I really hate the post to be there. Downside number three, what do you do with the bike stand 99% of the time when you're not using it? It's big, it's bulky, it's kind of ugly, and it's always in the way. Wherever I put it, I can try to store it, but then when I need it, it's heavy. It's a pain to move it around. This is taking space and it's just annoying me. It's always on the corner of my vision here in my beautiful garage. I want to get rid of it. So without further ado, let me show you the full process of building my dream bike stand here in my garage. All right guys, story time. I'll make it quick, I promise. So basically my friend Tristan sent me over this Facebook Marketplace ad where it was like a photography studio selling out everything they had, and I looked through what there was available and I see the ceiling system. When I start to Google it, I realized it was worth a lot of money and he's not asking much for it. So sent a message, booked a meeting, went for a first time to see, and I realized how long these posts were. I had to come back with my trailer. Here we could see like as it was mounted into my car and trailer. Extremely sketchy. This was the most stressful ride of my life. Basically on the highway, just hoping nobody's running to me and hoping the police doesn't stop me because a post that long is probably not legal. Anyways, I made it home safe, put it into the garage, sit there for a couple weeks, and when I decided to mount this full system, it took me a full day, basically. One of the big challenge I had is I really wanted to make it super slick that it's like barely noticeable, and I think I did a good job, as you'll see at the end. But it all started with measuring on the right side of the chimney. I just couldn't mess the cut because I only had one of those long posts and you cannot really put two of them side by side. I use a wood saw, was definitely the wrong blade, but hey, it worked. And as I was doing that work alone, I had to be clever, try to make it easier. So I used this photography light stand with some clamps on top of it. So it was like holding the rail on one side far away. So I could just use my hand to screw the mounts to the ceiling studs. It was quite a challenge to find the studs. Basically, like the garage has been added to the house, so I had to go into the attic, figure out where the studs were, because the stud finder to the ceiling, it was just not working right. Thanks to my old PC here, I was holding the rail. This PC is used for Zwift in the garage with the screen. So yeah, it's just sitting there and it was quite handy. Overall, I found a place that it worked. I was able to screw the whole thing secured at multiple places, a couple of really long screws, making sure it supports the full weight of the system. Moving on to the second rail, there was a problem. It was quite bent. I'm not too sure how this happened. Was it transportation or was it just from the previous owner? But I had to unbend the rail. You just use a box here and my full body weight to try to curve it back to like sort of like a flat or a straight alignment. But I think I did a good job. So again, I used the light stands to mount to the ceiling, but then everything worked fine. The second rail was a lot easier to mount than the first one. Of course, that's the learning curve. And then it was quite easy to slide in the crossbars on the gliders. I slide in the pantograph as well. And then all I had to do was to find how to make a bike stand out of this ceiling system. And then for the first prototype of the bike stand, as I posted on my Instagram at Charles Ouimet, you guys should go follow me there. I post quite much more than YouTube. It was one post coming down with one glider, and as soon as I was putting a bike on, it was quite shaky. It was not stable, just because of like the weight distribution of the bike, plus the Altangle, plus the whole thing. It was just like not usable, but it was a good start. And then a couple hours later, I just decided to like mess around with this post. I don't know where I got this post. So I decided to go with like a 2 glider and 2 support posts holding each other. And then the bike stand was just on the other side. So let's have a deeper look here with the final result.
Introducing the world's first ever bike stand from the ceiling on rails that can be used easily with one finger, that allows you to access the bike on both sides without touching anything, and that can just make your life a lot easier as a home bike mechanic. And the best part about this full setup is that as soon as you take off your bike, you can push it all the way out over the counter and nobody sees it. All right, now let me show you guys how this full setup works. So my main goal was to get rid of the bike stand. Looking at my rail system, you can barely see it. There's a bike stand there. If you look closely, you might see on top of there, on the black wall, there's a black rail. And this is where this rail lives. So as you can see, it's fully up to this corner. It goes all the way to the other corner. And now, if I want to access the bike stand, all I have to do is just take it and pull it. So the rail is amazing because it comes on 2 axes. So you have the gray rail that goes all the way to the back of the chimney, and then you have this other one that goes all the way to this garage opener. And as you see, I don't have 1 crossbar, I have 2 crossbars. We're gonna get over the second crossbar soon. So the bike stand here is also on rollers. You have 2 gliders or rollers, not too sure what to call them, but these goes onto this axis and then can be moved all the way around up to the end of the wall. The reason why there's 2 posts coming down is just because of the weight distribution of the bike. When it was on the bike stand, it needed like additional support to be stable, and it's the best way I've found to mount my Altangle. If you guys don't know about the Altangle, it's a double-sided bike clamp. It's super easy to use. You keep that into the trunk of your car so you can maintenance your bike wherever you go, or at the airport or whatever. There will be a link in the description to an in-depth video about the Altangle, but basically it grabs onto this one post that goes from this T shape. It grabs there and it allows the bike to be fully aligned with the 2 support posts. So now once the bike is on, this can just be pulled all the way around, and as we can see from the top over there, this smaller rail could go all the way here. It's even pushing the other one. Anyway, you get the hang of it. It's pretty freaking cool. Now, like the height of the Altangle is all exactly the same height as the regular bike stand, and I can even go higher. And if I don't want to use the Altangle, I can just unscrew this part and take it off. And I can also just use this post as like a seat mount. Let me give it a try. I could just like use it as bike resting. It works well, and I can still use it as it moves around on both axes. That way it's a little bit more shaky, but the full system is rated for like 200-300 pounds. So it's just a bike. It's 15 pounds. It's light enough. So my system, I also have this second rail with something called a pantograph. Now you're wondering, what is a pantograph? Basically, this system is used in like the photography industry for studios, and is to access your ceiling lights. So here I can just pull on that and I can mount anything I want to here. So I could put a TV, I could put lights, I can put wheels. I don't know what to mount there, but I could just use it, and has like easier access to the ceiling. Let me show you an example here, but as I pull down the pantograph, I can use like a photography light. I push it here and I can just tighten everything together. So now my photography light is just on the ceiling. I mean, now it's a bit low, like it technically should be higher. This is not the best setup for a light, but you get the point. I can move it easy, up and down, access the setting, back up. It's a bit noisy. I should put some WD-40. So yeah, this just lives in the garage. Like I can just pull this all the way to this one side and bring the light on the other side, and bring this one a bit more further that way. Like I have so much space to move around to get it out of the way. I could have the bike stand on this rail as well. I can have more movable bike stand like that. But this is it. It's my fully movable bike stand from the ceiling. Now everything will run a bit smoother, easier, and just make my life easier. Basically, that was the whole point of this project. So if you want to build something like this in your garage, I mean, cool. It's not a must, it's a nice to have. I was just lucky enough to get a good deal on this full system. It was a photography studio that was closing down. The sons of the owner was just like, try to get rid of everything. So I paid like $1,500 for the 2 long rails, 3 crossbars, and the 3 pantograph and all the accessory. But the full system like that can retail for like $4,000 or $5,000. It's expensive. I would have not built this thing for $5,000, but with a deal like that on Facebook Marketplace, I just had to do it, spent a day building it, and now I'm quite happy with the result because I can get rid of my bike stand. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, as always, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already, and just go watch this video. YouTube thinks you're gonna like it.